At his home, the pots used for cooking, Lord Vishnu's offerings were kept outside in a pile for cleaning. Nimai decided to sit atop of these contaminated pots. Kindly listen with undivided attention to this confidential incident. Devotional service to Lord Krishna is perfected by sincerely hearing this story. Sitting atop the pile of contaminated pots, as if it was a royal throne, Sri Gaurasundar glanced around with a smile playing upon his lips. The black soot from the contaminated pots spotted his golden complexion. He looked like a golden doll, smeared by dark, sweet-smelling sandalwood and akuru paste. Several friends went to Sachi Mata and informed her. Nimai is sitting atop the contaminated pots. Sachi Mata was shocked when she saw him. My dear child, this is not a proper place to sit, she scolded. Can you not judge between clean and unclean things after all these years? Don't you know that one must bathe after touching unclean pots? Lord Nimai retorted, You do not allow me to study. How do you expect me to know the differences between clean and unclean? I'm just an illiterate Brahmin. I'm an uneducated fool with no idea of what is clean or unclean. I see oneness in everything. My vision is non-dual. After his speech, Nimai smiled from atop his seat of unclean pots. At that moment, he manifested the mood of Lord Dattatreya, Krishna's incarnation as the son of Atri. His mother replied, Now that you have sat in a dirty place, how are you going to clean yourself? However, Lord Vishwambara replied, Mother, you have an extremely childlike mentality. I am never situated in a contaminated place. Wherever I am, that place becomes most sanctified. Ganga Devi and all other places of pilgrimage naturally reside there. Clean and unclean are imaginary. It is a conditioned way of thinking. What can be the fault of the Creator or his creation? Let us assume something is contaminated according to social etiquette and Vedic ritualistic opinions. Then, if I, the supreme absolute purity, touch it, then what contamination can remain? In reality, these pots are not in the least contaminated because you have cooked for Lord Vishnu in them. Lord Vishnu's cooking utensils can never be contaminated. On the contrary, they can purify everything and every place simply by their touch. Similarly, I reside neither in a degraded place nor upon a materialistic plane. Everyone is purified by my contact. After speaking the absolute non-dual truth, just as a child would speak on ordinary topics, Nimai smiled. By the influence of his illusory potency, no one could fathom his words. However, they all smiled condescendingly at small Nimai's speech, while Sachi Mata insisted that he come for a bath. Nonetheless, Nimai would not leave the pots, so Sachi Mata coaxed, Come quickly before your father comes home and learns about all of this. Nonetheless, Nimai was adamant. If you do not permit me to study, then I will not move from this spot. I am telling you clearly. The neighbors turned to Nimai's mother and inquired, Why do you forbid Nimai to continue his education? Many persons tutor their sons with painstaking care. How fortunate you are that this young boy desires to study of his own accord. Which of your enemies has advised you to keep your son in the house as an illiterate fool? Nimai is not to be blamed in the least for this situation. Turning to Nimai, they said, Yes, child, if from today you are not allowed to study, then you should certainly continue your work of destruction. Sitting atop the pots, Nimai smiled sweetly, and the fortunate souls who saw him floated in an ocean of absolute bliss. Eventually, Sachimata herself had to bring the child down. All the while, Lord Gaurachandra, looking like a beautiful blue sapphire, continued to smile sweetly. Nimai spoke the non-dual absolute truth in the mood of his previous incarnation, Lord Dattatreya, but none could grasp the import due to the influence of Lord Vishnu's illusory potency. The pious Sachimata took Nimai for a bath. Meanwhile, Sri Mishra returned. Sachimata told the entire story to Sri Mishra and lamented, "Our son is sorry that he is not allowed to study." Some neighbors petitioned Nimai's father, "Dear Mishra, we know you are a high-minded soul. On whose advice did you forbid your son to continue his education? Whatever Lord Krishna desires will always come true. Therefore discard all your worries and allow your son to study without anxiety. You are truly fortunate that your son wants to learn of his own volition. Therefore choose an auspicious day, initiate your son with the sacred Brahman thread, and begin his studies again properly." Sri Mishra replied, "You are all my dearest friends. Whatever you decide, I must consent to." Young Nimai's activities were all superhuman, and although everyone saw them with utter amazement, they could never understand their deep mystery. Occasionally, pious and fortunate people came to visit Sri Mishra and informed him of the superhuman qualities of his child. "This child must never be considered an ordinary boy," they would advise. "Keep him close to your heart with utmost care." The supreme actor of Vaikuntha, Nimai, frolicked mischievously in his own courtyard. Then, with his father's permission, Sri Chaitanya joyfully resumed his studies. Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda Chandra are my life and soul. I, Vrindavan Das, humbly offer this song at their lotus feet. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Adikanda chapter 7. The Sannyas of Sri Vishvarup Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Mansava Bhavana Das Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev. Hari Yadaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Kadadara Siva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Rakuna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasara Kunas Jai Kusai Kari Charana Bandham Jai Te Vignana Savista Pura Jai Kusai Jai Muritara Das Tansavara Parare Numara Panchakas Tandira Chalama Sivi Bhakta Sameba Janame More Abhilas Jai Kusai Jai Bhakta Kolabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anandi Bola Hari Bhakya Vrindavan Sri Guru Vaishnava Pare Majai Aman Sri Guru Vaishnava Patatma Koriya Hari Nam Sankirtana Pure Narutamada Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana Gaurari. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaurari. Nitai Gaurari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaurari Bo, Nitai Gaurari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaurari Bo. Jaya Sabai Sisi Guru Kuranga Sundar Radha Kiridari Juki Jai. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Nimalachaya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Rakak Sita Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Govarga Ki Jai. Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sabhashada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Sabhashada Sima Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Ganga Yamuna Chu Ki Jai. Sri Navadvitam Ki Jai. Sri Mayapudam Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Jo Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat East London Chapter Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London Chapter Ki Jai. Samata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Samata Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
So just shut that.